So this is my Mountain Indian army list. Mountain Indian is a bit of a clumsy army, but it is very tough. It's only got aggression 1, so I should take advantage of terrain, and it's quite terrain dependent. I really want a lot of rough terrain for the auxiliaries and the uh, Pike F. Uh, I've got to have 2 ally commands, so I've put them in the ones that are the more defensive commands. So I've got those 2 defensive commands, B and C. They are pretty similar. They have got big block of spearmen, uh, Pike F, which are to pin the enemy, and you've got a couple of auxiliary S and archers to provide the mobility around the flanks of the pike block. Command A is a more offensive army. That's with the CNC on an elephant, so he can keep any knights honest. You've got the light horse, which will be going round a flank, and a block of auxiliaries S, which would be sweeping in from a flank onto the enemy who's pinned by the pike block. Command D is offensive as well. It's got 2 elephants, that's the maximum that I can have, as well as the light horse that will be going round a flank, and the auxiliary S javelinman to provide support for the elephants and to pin the line. In general, this is an army that will fight on attrition. It fights very wide. And will want to envelop the enemy with the light horse while they are entangled with the auxiliary and the pike. The pike will be very good anti-knight troops and also the elephants as well. So every command has something that is anti-knight that will prevent the auxiliaries being ridden down. On 101 ME, it is a big army. And I also have the ambush stratagem, which would help me to either hide the elephants or set up a light horse ambush or embed some auxiliaries out wide. So when going up against the Macedonian Alexandrian, they will have wedge knights, but I've got my elephants and my pike F who can counter those. I've got nothing that can fight his pike block, but I will basically try to dodge the pike block. He'll be relatively narrow compared to me because he's got to go deep for the pikes and the knights are more expensive. So I'll look to envelop both flanks and use terrain in order to have a safe hiding place where he can't reach me. This is what we rolled for terrain. You can see quite a few bare, gentle hills scattered around the map. I also went for some scrub, so you can see a scrubby hill in the foreground and 2 flat scrubs, which are very good for my auxiliaries to hide from his pike and his knights. In the foreground, you'll see a difficult hill that I placed with a road running through it. That is going to be important. As we remember, I have the ambush stratagem. So I set up one command that is on the right flank. That is my CNC on the elephant in order to move forwards and try to outflank the Macedonians. In the center, we have our pipe block that is in the rough. That is to keep it away from the Macedonian pikes that will beat it, and the Siloi in the open because they can block the Macedonian phalanx. In the center, I'm holding back my other pipe block. It's clumsy, and I want it not to be a quick target for the Macedonian pikes. And on the far flank, I have my auxiliary with some Siloi flanking. You'll notice that there is some stuff missing, the light horse and the elephants from this command. On the Macedonian side, their central command is consisted of regular auxiliary O in the foreground, then a big pike block, mostly pike O, but some pike S as well. And then there is the Thracians of irregular auxiliary S. Their pip dump consists of 4 spear O and 3 regular cavalry O with their wedge knight commander behind. This looked like a good target for me to swamp with my auxiliary, since only his general will quick kill, and also try to envelop with the light horse. On the other flank, we have a full command of mounted, with the wedge knights in the front line and light horse protecting the flank. So that is the Macedonian setup, with his phalanx on the hill and his knights on the Bear Gentle hill. There's no way that I can go uphill against those. But his flanks look a bit weak. He only has light horse protecting his right flank, and he has the small pip command protecting his left flank. So the standard Indian tactic of trying to envelop looks like it might work. So that is the overall picture. You can see how it fits together. And now you can think about your plan. My plan was to envelop with the light horse on both sides and then attack through the rough towards the pip dump and also the auxiliary O's, trying to avoid the pike block and the knights. I will sit on the hill against the knights and rely on my pike and elephants if he comes up. So this was my first move. All of the pikes of the center command turned to the left and moved over. They want to sit on the hill in order to fight the knights. They don't want to fight the phalanx. Of the other central command, the pike F moved forward to the edge of the rough with the Siloi beside them. Only a couple of pips for the CNC, and he advanced on to the pip dump command. In the Macedonian move, he sent his cavalry out wide, and that exposed the ambush that was behind the crest on the Bear Gentle hill. The ambush consisted of 2 elephants plus 6 light horse, and in the move afterwards, the light horse moved to counter the Macedonian flanking move and to deploy into a battle line, while the auxiliaries slid to the left in order to exploit the gap opening up between the knights and the light horse and create space for the pike F command to deploy next to the elephants. So there's the pike F command. It is, even though it's clumsy, it's managed to move and turn and is now in a great position for advancing to protect the auxiliaries against the knights. With those pikes there and the elephants next to them, it will be a tough job for the knights, even on the flat, and uphill they will have no chance. On the other side, a big pip roll enabled the CNC to reveal the ambush that was on the road behind the hill. And then they are able to move off. They take advantage of their free pip, and then they have unlimited number of pip marches on the road. And then they have 2 off-road marches that they can do once they reach the far end, which enables them to get behind the pip dump command. That leaves a couple of pips for the auxiliaries to move forward. The light horse will only be decisive if I can pin the front of the pip dump command with the auxiliaries. And a lot depends. If you get a big pip roll for that, then they'll be able to escape, but otherwise they look in a bit of trouble. And since it's the pip dump, the lowest dice, they will have some trouble. So that is a close-up with the light horse, how far they were able to reach. This is a good trick because you only have to reveal the ambush when you get a very large pip roll from that command. That will enable them to dash up the road and get behind the flank. I have to advance the pike out of the rough in order to support the auxiliaries, and also I need to put pressure onto his auxiliaries. This does risk them being attacked by the pike phalanx, but it's quite hard for the pike phalanx to maneuver over to hit the pike F. They're more likely to engage the Siloi. In response, the Central Command and Pike Phalanx wheels in order to line up against my Pike F and Siloi Command. You'll see it's worked out quite nicely with the auxiliaries having to fight the Pike F and the Pike having to fight the Siloi, which they will only spend. On the right, you can see how the Macedonian general has decided to defend. He has pulled his cavalry back to prevent a hard flanking by the light horse, and he has sent in some expendable Siloi to try to hold the line. If the light horse continue to push forward, then they will be enveloped. So there you can see a close-up of the defensive line. Unfortunately, it is a little short. You've got some Siloi in the gap. You would rather have had some more spearmen for holding that position. Okay, in my turn, the light horse charge in. They engage with the wedge knight general. Unfortunately, the light horse charging into the wedge knight general got eliminated, so that rather defeats that point. I was trying to hold the wedge knight general in combat so that his command would be pip-starved and unable to move, with lots of hard flanking options for the Indians. However, I can afford to lose quite a lot of light horse and before this command breaks. Okay, the lines clash in the middle. The pike block goes in against the auxiliaries. The auxiliaries lose. They are fighting on a factor 3 to 5, and I have at least one overlap. But they only lose one in this turn. And fortunately, only one file of the Pike F are up against the Piko phalanx. So now I've lost two light horse, but as I said, this is quite a big command, so I can afford to take some punishment. Okay, so that was the next move from the Indians. They managed to hard flank a couple of the Macedonian cavalry, and the auxiliaries get into play as well. The auxiliaries go in on the spear line. They really have to pin those so that they can't pull back and support the flank. They are trying to suck up all of the troops so that there is no spare room. In the center, the tough fight between the pikes and the auxiliaries carries on. You can see I've lost one pike in the middle. When it's double overlapped, then the auxiliaries have a chance. I turned the Siloi and auxiliary from the other command in order to start threatening the flank of the pike phalanx, since it has gone forward unsupported. I expect that he'll bring the Thracians off the hill to fill that gap, but that means they won't be able to support either flank. On the far side, the Indians charge in onto the Macedonian line. They were not able to deploy quite as well as they hoped, and the light bases are only light horse F, and I managed to get a hard flank on one of the light horse. So I've got the edge on this side. Okay, some of the hard flanks works, although only one of the two. And I've lost a couple of auxiliaries to the spearmen, who have been doing really well fighting off the auxiliaries to their front. So it might be that my general needs to get involved on the elephant. The phalanx has gone in onto the Siloi, and the auxiliary, you can now see, have lost some more. So there is a hole in front of the pike F. So that's the pike going in on the Siloi. This is a great way to absorb a pike phalanx, since the Siloi can only be spent and they hold up 4 ranks of extremely punchy troops without giving away any casualties. On the other side, after 2 turns of combat, the Macedonians have decisively lost. They have lost half of their light horse, and the remainder are running away. And that will open up the flank of the knights for the light horse to rush round and threaten rear charges. The Macedonian did bring the Thracians and a couple of Siloi over in order to protect the flank of the phalanx. Also sent some over to plug the hole caused by the loss of the auxiliaries next to the other flank of the pike phalanx. So Thracians are holding both sides of the pike phalanx. Okay, a bit pip-starved for my command trying to destroy the pip dump of the Macedonians, and that means the going has been a little bit slow, but I have so many troops here that the end is really inevitable. It's just a question of how long it takes. And able to go into the rear of another CV, and that is going to make it easier to take down this command. The pike F are grinding forwards. They've been able to make contact with the general, a wedge knight. That is, with overlaps against them, they're unlikely to kill, but it is a great way to absorb the power of the general. This command is the pike command, so it's unlikely to break unless I do damage to the pikes, which is not going to happen when they're only up against Siloi. You can see how the pike column has pushed forwards, and my pike column has pushed forwards as well, opening up a potential hard flanking for the Macedonians against my pike column. In the center, I managed to get a hard flanking onto the Thracians. That is a good result, since they might lose 2 units there and open up the flank of the phalanx again. My light horse need to destroy the enemy light horse before they can go round the flank of the knights. So they are concentrating on taking them down. They do manage to kill one, and then some of the rest of them turn in towards the knights. The Macedonians peel off a couple of knights to protect the flank, but wedge knights are not really designed to protect flanks. They are punch troops, and it is difficult to control them when they break up into multiple groups. Okay, the fight in the center, some of the Indian auxiliary got hard flanked, and the rest of them have been pulled down. So basically, this attack has now been thwarted by the Macedonians, but it has sucked in most of his reserve, most of his reserves. Okay, this is the end of the pip dump command. So the cavalry, the general goes down as a result of being hit in the rear. But the spearmen have done great damage among the Indian javelinmen. So when we look at the state of the casualties, the pip dump has gone down. The main phalanx is fine because these are just auxiliary O, so only half an ME each. The knight command is actually looking a bit shaky because it's lost 6 light horse plus 2 for a total of 8. Okay. The pip dump is now routed, but it is a couple of units. The spearmen are being held, but that means that the auxiliaries can now sweep round the back of the central command. You can see how far the pike block has managed to push. They have pushed back the pike F all the way back to the rough, but the other columns are being successfully held up by the Siloi. They get repulsed behind the second line. So, in my turn, I can just bring the Siloi back into contact and make the Macedonian repeat it all over again. Okay, given that it is getting towards the end of the game, I push the pike block forwards in order to threaten the wedge knights on the hill. Even uphill, the pikes will have a good chance of taking out the Macedonians. And pushing the elephants forward as well. Their favorite target is the knights, so they have the auxiliary screening in front, but it doesn't matter if the auxiliary die to the knights because the elephants are waiting. So the casualties have mounted. The right-hand command is now almost disheartened for the Indians. The other commands are in fairly good shape. A attack from the Siloi onto the CNC. This was really a Hail Mary attack since the Silois are only 2s and my general is a 5 and he would have to beat me by 4 in order to quick kill, but it was still nerve-wracking to roll the dice, but the Siloi paid for his bravery and died. You can see the pikemen now finally running, the spearmen now finally running away, while the light horse start to mop up the remaining Siloi. In a final charge, the Macedonian wedge knights go in onto the pike line. They don't have any overlaps against them. But they are still going in at a factor of 4 against 6. And they pay the price with 2 of them going down and then the elephants coming in and attacking one of the remaining knights with overlap. and that did not end well for the knights. And with those going down, that broke the command, and then the entire army, and that was the end of the game. So that was it. A fun game. The Indians are a very tough army, especially if they get some terrain that they can exploit. The Macedonian Alexandrian are also a very good army, but this was not really a great enemy for them because of the elephants and pike are great anti-knight troops, and they were never able to get their pikemen into action. If the pike phalanx had hit one of the pike fast groups head on, then it could have been a very different result, with the wedge knights being able to hit the auxiliary next to them. The terrain helped, and the ambush pushing on both sides helped to give the Indian the jump. That is a good trick, to have light horse on a road behind a hill, because they can jump out and be in place on the opponent's baseline before they can react. And it is also good to hide troops like elephants in ambush, because they are very matchup dependent. And if you put them in the open, the enemy will make sure that they have a good opponent and don't play much part in the game. So I'd encourage you to try the Mountain Indians. It's not very competitive because it's a little defensive, and you've got two allied generals, so it won't win very fast, a bit reliant on attrition, but very tough and fun to play. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed the battle report, and I will see you in the next one.